Come on and wake up. Listen to your heart now. See what's going on. We can make it together. We can find a way. Co-creations, new generations. You're a champion. You already won.
If you truly and sincerely want to create an energetic environment in your home, and you learn the ways of communication, even this simple little thing of send a message, boop, beep, boop, boop, and then receive a message, and then reflect that message, boop, beep, boop, boop, right? If you truly, sincerely want to create an energetic environment in your home, then not only will you be an example of this simple way of communicating, and not only will you teach other people to do it, but you will hold yourself to the same rules that you teach everybody else. If when you send a message, because in power dynamics, someone can say, when I say this to you, you let me know what I said, right? But if you truly want to create an energetic in your home, then you do not have a double standard, or don't do what I do what I say. So you're telling someone, you have to reflect back my message, but then you're not going to reflect back to them because you have this idea in your head that you're supposed to be the powerful one. That creates a draining environment. It's not an energetic environment, it's a draining environment. It's not an uplifting environment, it's a draining environment. If you have a double standard, if you hold one standard for yourself and a different standard for someone else, for anybody that hasn't heard that term double standard before, it means double standard means, it doesn't mean double, it actually means two different standards. That I hold myself to particular rules, that you need to treat me a particular way, but I get to treat you however I want. So, double standard means two standards. One about how I treat you, and a different one about how you treat me. So, an energetic environment means everybody follows the same rules. If you, when you send a message, if you expect me to reflect it back to you, then you also have to, when I send a message to you, you also have to reflect it back to me. So, it's very important, this idea of a power dynamic. If you could take out all the power from everybody and just say, this is how communication works. A message is sent, a message is received, and a message is reflected. And if everybody simply did that and take out all the power dynamics, then you create an energetic environment, but you also are much more respected and believable, and it works. It works. So I want to say something about a power dynamic, is that wherever there is a double standard power dynamic, you cannot create an energetic environment. It doesn't work. The environment will not be energetic because you are lying. You are lying. You are saying that this is the way someone has to treat you, or the way people should treat each other. That's what you're saying. But yet you don't do it back, then that is a lie. No one's going to believe you that that is what they're supposed to do if you're not doing it. So if you're going to teach it, you got to do it. Now, some people are going to say, well, I'm going to just turn this off right now because I need to have the power in my home. I am the king of my castle, and everybody has to do what I say. Then you choose to be right over creating an energetic environment in your home. And there's a lot of people who are going to do that. And that's the reason why our country is the way it is. That's the reason why there's so many angry people. Because people are holding double standards. People are not treating others the way they expect to be treated. People are not treating others in a way that they would be willing to be treated. So what I'm saying is this evens it out. And if you want to have an energetic environment in your family, you need to even it out. So right now, during this pandemic, it's like we press pause. It's like we had our before, now we're in our pause, and then we're going to have our after. Personally, I don't want to create our after the same way as it was before, because there's just way too much fighting and polarization and blaming, and without people looking at what they're doing, without finding ways that we can be even with each other, to even it out. We are in our evening right now. We are evening out what before was this big, violent, bumpy road. There are some people that benefit from people being in this bumpiness and fighting with each other and not being able to back up and look at, is this an even exchange? Is this person doing for this person what this person is doing for this person? Is it an even exchange? Is it even? We're in the evening. We were in the night. Now we're in the evening. Tomorrow comes the dawn. And what will we be waking up to? We have an opportunity. We're on pause right now. We're at home. We're looking at our lives. But we're in a different place than anyone ever on this planet and ever was before. Anyone from anywhere can go on YouTube right now and listen to someone they've never listened to before. And sincerely put yourself in a position to understand a point of view that you've never listened to before. Because no one else is watching. It's up to you. What do you want to do? We can even out this mess that we have made. Even it up, even it up, even it out. Songs. So many songs. My head has thousands of songs in it. Because when I was young, my brothers played acoustic guitar and we used to sit around and sing together. So now, when people are talking, a song will just pop off in my head. And my head works. And I think I'm going to be doing that during these, so I'll give you a little bit of entertainment so it's not just listening to talking to this whole thing. I think I'm going to sing a little bit. I'm just going to, I'm going to bring myself. It's something that I noticed lately is that there are a lot of people who used to have a big studio and an audience and people working for them and all this money to make it wonderful. I've noticed that people are persuaded by an audience laughing, an audience clapping, and all that. But now there's a lot of people who used to have an audience who aren't allowed to gather in crowds right now because of this pandemic. So this pandemic is kind of evening us out a little bit. So now when you go on YouTube, you can see I've lately been watching Trevor Noah and Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon and people who used to have these audiences are now at home by themselves without all the lights and cameras and people clapping and laughing. And it's almost like you get to hear it. You get to go inside yourself and listen from a new way. Like, is this really funny? Because we're so often persuaded by an audience or a laugh track or all this big fanfare and all this, the makeup and the image and this is a star and a celebrity. But on YouTube, it kind of evens us out. And you get to see someone sitting in their home who used to be on a stage talking with everyone and just talking with you. And then you say, well, do I like this person? Is this person bringing it? Are they bringing something that's useful to me? Are they bringing something that lifts me up? Or is what they're saying funny? And I personally really like Trevor Noah. And he just recently did an interview with Dr. Fauci, who is the head of CDC. He just knows a lot about this disease, this virus, and he gives information on it. That's why I'm not going to talk on it anymore, because we have people like him that we can go to on YouTube. We can listen to people that know, and we can learn from them. So I'm not going to be teaching you anything about the virus, but I definitely recommend go listen to experts. What are they saying to do? I know we're getting away from each other, and I've watched a couple of documentaries on what China did and what they're doing, and they have got their system down of keeping people separate so it doesn't get passed from one another. So watch some of those documentaries. But also take this time to learn and to listen and to watch and to grow. And so for me, my thing is I'll be teaching you ways to get along with each other in your homes right now, but it's things you can continue to use in your life. And I want us to use this evening that we have here together to grow our minds and grow our ability to see what's really happening and not be so influenced by fanfare and the tide of culture, the tide of society, that we just go along with it and say, well, what's the color of my skin? Well, based on the color of my skin, I should be thinking like this and acting like this and defending these people and being against these people, and all these things that we kind of just slid into these slots that were handed to us on this tide of circumstance. So instead of that, we press pause and we take this evening time to step out of the boat of circumstance. Step off this wave that we've been surfing, that we felt that the people around us and the places we worked and the overriding culture has told us that we're supposed to fit into. Steve Jobs said something. He said that, this is not an exact quote, but this was basically the meaning of it. He said that most people come into the world and they look around and they say, where do I fit in? It's kind of like when you go on the classifieds, you're looking for a job and you look in the classifieds, you say, well, what are people hiring for? And you go, maybe I can do this, maybe I can do this, but nothing's really like, it's just, okay, I'll be a receptionist, or okay, I'll be, this whatever this person's hiring for. What he said is you come into the world and you say, this is who I am, this is what I'm bringing. And it also reminds me of something in Eckhart Tolle's book, A New Earth. So Eckhart Tolle wrote The Power of Now. He also wrote a book called The New Earth. And in The New Earth, he talked about how there was a time when there were no flowers on the earth. And then flowers started to bloom. And now, the earth is covered with flowers. But I say that because you were birthed onto this planet to be what you are. And maybe your consciousness is coming in at a time when it is time for you to create something new based on your experience, based on what you see. You look around and take a snapshot of where we were yesterday. Take a snapshot of where we are today. And then ask yourself, where do I want us to be tomorrow? What world do I want to step out of my house and step into? What world do I want to be there when I step out of my house? Well, I got to bring it. If I want it to be there, I got to bring it. I got to be it. What it reminds me of is a Christmas Story where Scrooge, where they take him and they have him look at the past and they have him look at a possible future, and then they wake him up and he gets to create it. And where he used to be crabby with everybody and mean and stingy, when he was able to back up, take a step back and look back in and say, oh gosh, is that what I've been? Is this what people think of me because of the way I've treated them? And then he was able to say, if you keep doing this is what the ghost of Christmas past, Christmas present, and Christmas future, the message they told him was, if you keep acting like this, and if you keep doing this is the future that you have to look forward to. So how do you create something different? How do you step into this now, into this pause moment, and think about the world you want to step back into? I know for me, I don't just want to ride this past wave of circumstance that tells me who I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to do. And I want to have the power inside myself to step out into a new world the same way when all the flowers grew. It became a new world because all the flowers were there where they weren't there before. I want to step out into it and act as if the vision I created in my mind is already so. Now, some people might take that and say, yeah, I want to have 20 Ferraris and a Rolls Royce and and women or all these men or people serving me. I want to be a king on a mansion on a hilltop. But then if you're that person who wants that fame and celebrity and all that, then I just ask you why. why do you want that? How are you right now? How are you right now in your home with your family? Or how are you right now in your apartment by yourself? Are you? Are you able to handle it? Are you able to sit by yourself? I would recommend just sit quietly and pay attention to the thoughts that cross your mind. And if you need to, write some of them thoughts down to get them out of your head. Get them out on paper so you don't have to keep thinking them. But if you take some time to just watch. Now, a lot of people are going to be very, very uncomfortable with that because they're very uncomfortable with their own thoughts, especially if there's no one else to blame those thoughts on. But when you're in a family, what we do is you have an uncomfortable thought and you go, well, I'm mad and you're in my face, so you must be the reason I'm mad. So that's called projection, which is another stage that I will talk about. But just stay tuned. I'm going to give you a whole bunch of things that you can do while you're home with your family in order to raise the energetic environment where you're at. And trust me, I don't care who you are. I don't care. I don't care if you used to abuse your family. I don't care if you used to take drugs or whatever it is. I'm going to give you things for you to take and possibly create something entirely new that you have never been in before. This is what I've studied for. Because when I was in 7th grade and I was walking home and I looked in those windows, my hope was, I hope there's not kids in there getting beat. I hope there's not kids in there who are crying and scared and don't feel protected and safe in their own homes because of the way they're being treated by the people around them. My vision is that every home is a safe home. Because you might be safe from the outside world and you might be safe from this pandemic and this virus, from the walls that you have. But are you emotionally safe here with the people here? The people here that are your guardians, your protectors, the people that you're in relationship with. Are you safe? Are you emotionally safe? So no matter who you are, no matter if you think you're the bad guy or the good guy or whatever it is, no matter what you've been making up in the tide of circumstance before this moment, we're pressing pause right now and we're making up something new, and you can step out into a new world, into a new life, into a new home by just learning some lessons. I'm going to make them simple, and I'm telling you right now, you can change anything, but no one can change you but you. This is Tia Turnbull of Champion of Champions and Energetic Environments, and keep it 100. Stay tuned for more. Hit the like, subscribe, and tap the bell. Thank you for joining me.